Hello again, YouTube. Hi, so for this video I thought I'd show you how to do the cartoonist way of depicting uh, ethnic people. So it's not going to look too realistic, but I'm going to show you the shortcuts and the tricks that I use to draw ethnic people. Alright, first, you need to understand that different ethnic groups have very distinctive physical characteristics. But another way of saying that is sometimes the stereotypes are true, and you want to take advantage of that without it being offensive. So first, let's start out with uh, Caucasian or whites. So first thing you want to start out with is a head or a face, right? And in most cases, people's heads are going to be round. So for Caucasians, for white people, the stereotype is what? That they got round eyes. So round eyes, and not necessarily that they have big noses, but you want to give them a nose that is distinctive enough that it cannot be mistaken for another ethnic group. And I'll come back to that point later for another ethnic group. And mouths, usually for whites, you can just use a simple line because that will depict the same mouth for most ethnic groups, except for one ethnic group later. But I'll get to that. So for Caucasian hair, Caucasians usually have soft hair, so it can be in any shape, but as it pertains to the current culture, white people are associated with groomed hair. So soft groomed hair that's combed and groomed. Yes, it's bad. It sounds like a stereotype, but if you want to depict certain ethnic groups to a certain degree of accuracy, but without being too offensive, that's my cartoonist tip. Okay, so for whites, that's pretty much it. Don't forget eyebrows. You can change that up, but most important is that white people have round eyes, somewhat of a big nose. It's a stereotype, but you still have to pay attention to that stuff, unless you're basing it off of a reference photo where the person doesn't have a white nose, and the hair is soft and groomed. Okay, or it could even be spiky for a younger Caucasian or white person, spiky with gel or whatever. Okay, next, let's do blacks or African Americans. Okay, same thing. Start with a round head. Okay, most humans have round heads. Okay, and now this is where you got to be careful, because like I said, you can use stereotypes to your advantage, but don't do it in a way where it's offensive. Okay, Africans almost look Asian. Some of them do. So you can have a brow that's a little bit lower. Some blacks have Asiatic eyes, and some of them don't. So this is really up to you. But I like to think that if I was going to do a caricature, I would try to make them look as ethnic as possible without it looking offensive. So I'm going to try to make my blacks look a little bit more Asian. Okay, so eyes are a little bit almond shaped, because that's the stereotype of Asians, right? But not too almondish that it becomes distinctively an Asian caricature. Okay, blacks' noses are flared, meaning that it's upturned and it's maybe even a little bit smaller, right? And the bridge of the nose doesn't go all the way up. Now, some blacks they have that because of interracial breeding, but for the most part, like I said, your job is to, as a cartoonist, is to get that distinctive trait down. And blacks have big lips. Okay, this is important. I think of all ethnic groups, only blacks and Hispanics have big lips. So, but like I said, you have to be careful with how you choose to depict certain groups of people, because there may be some blacks that don't have big lips, or flared up noses, or smaller noses, or Asiatic eyes, or a lower brow, or whatever. So if you have a reference photo of a person, then try to make it look as much like that person as possible. But if you're creating a generic caricature and you have to depict a certain ethnic group, yeah, that's what this tutorial is for. To do it in a way that it's accurate but without being offensive. Okay, so also, and then they have big rounder ears. Okay? And I know this is going to sound offensive, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I believe in the intellectual logic behind it. Blacks do look kind of simian, okay? It's okay. Asians look simian too. I'm Asian. And some whites definitely look simian. So if that's what it takes to depict an ethnic group's likeness, then by all means do it. But don't do it in an ugly way, okay? You notice how my black person still looks human, right? It doesn't look like an ape, okay? All right, and then hair, you can make it big like an afro, or I know blacks like to shave it so that it has a really smooth and sleek look like that. So that's how I'm going to depict it, okay? So it's light like this. Well, actually, you got to make the head a little bit bigger, but you get the idea. And how you draw the hair, the texture of the hair is important too. So, for example, you see right now, this isn't really clean. It's a quick sketch, but the texture needs to look like it's shaven down. So you got to cross hatch it lightly. But maybe for the sake of this video, let me show you how I do African American hair. Okay, this is how I do froze. It's like squiggly, curly line, like this. See, because it's kinked up hair. And if you ever interacted with an actual black person's hair, you will know how the anatomy of it is too. So it's just hair that is kinked. Or let's be more adult about it. It's kind of like pubic hair. Let's just be honest about it. It's not. I don't mean it in a offensive way. That's just my observation. So that's how I do draw ethnic people. And okay, so let's see. Another thing to connote that this is a black person is with the lighting. If it's a black and white drawing, you need to have indications that there's some kind of lighting going on here. So you got to put some kind of a hint that the skin is dark without shading the whole thing in. Okay, so you notice the white person. I mean, I could clean this up some more, but for the sake of it being crystal clear that this guy's skin is white, you can use as much hatch marks as you want, or you leave it blank like that. And it's when you compare it to this guy, you see you put a hint of color, even though this is what you would call a shadow, but you put a hint of color so that when you compare, when you juxtapose the two characters, you know this one's black. You see this? Because it has a hint of color, right? Even though in real life this guy would probably have, from the same light source, a shadow on this side too, but because you want to make sure that the ethnic group, the ethnicity is very distinctive and crystal clear that that's the ethnic group you want to depict. Okay? All right, so this guy is black. All right, let's do Asians. Asians / Hispanics, because they tend to look alike and probably are interchangeable when it comes to taking shortcuts. Okay, so let me show you how I do Asians. All right, same thing. Start with a round head. And this is, again, where stereotypes come in handy. You start out with the eyes, right? Eyes are stereotypically almond shape, even though, again, like I said, if you're an educated person, you know not all Asians have almond shapes, even though I think popular Koreans would dare say that all Asians have eyes without folds, but I can vouch personally that I have a fold in my eyelids and I am 100% Asian. Okay? Alright, so notice the difference between how I depicted this Asian's eyes as very exaggerated almond shapes versus the black guy's eyes, right? The black guy's eyes are not completely round like this, but they're not completely almond, like completely exaggerated or angled as such. Okay, and Asian noses are rounder and possibly wider and smaller. So they're not necessarily flared up like a black person's nose, but their bridge also isn't as big as a white person's nose, so there's still a hint of a bridge, but they have a wider nose and it's not as big and it's not as small, right? Mouth, again, is the same. It's probably the most generic mouth ever, but it's all the same. It's just a straight line like that. Ears, I don't think Asians have any distinctive ears like blacks. And then hair, okay, this is another trick right here. Again, the stereotype, you can give the Asian guy a bowl haircut, or in order to make it distinctive, right? Because and to follow current trends, let's make the Asian guy have spiky hair. Okay, it's not naturally spiky. If you are an educated person, you know it takes time. Asians put hair gel and stuff into their hair to get it spiky. They don't come out of the womb with spiky hair. They're not Dragon Ball Z, okay? So this, and again, this is a cartoonist shortcut. You gotta be keen and observant to these trends and how to take advantage of them, but not to depict it in an offensive way. Okay, so eyebrows, I think I can even say the only ethnic group that you might want to give thin eyebrows to are Asians. And notice everything tips up a bit at the edges right here like that. Okay, Asian. Even though, yeah, again, not all Asians have thin eyebrows, but if you want to do shortcuts and you're a cartoonist, that's how you would do it. Because I know in manga and anime, they usually give them thick eyebrows. But again, this is my shortcut. This is how I do it. Okay, so white, black, Hispanic, Asian, and / Hispanic. Hispanic. Or if it's a dark-skinned Hispanic, well, no, I don't think this caricature doesn't look Hispanic at all. But I think, well, yeah, let me show you how I would do Hispanic anyway. All right, let's do Hispanic right here. Okay, Hispanic, same, round, right? Hispanic is, you would cross the black characteristics with the Asian characteristics. Okay, you use this same eyes, low brow again. You want to be as distinctive as possible, but without being offensive. Okay, so low brow, because let's be honest, there's Mexicans that look really simian. Low brow, not too almond-ish eyes, because we're all related. We all came from the same progenitor. Okay. Nose is rounder and bigger, because it's kind of like right before they become when they move from black to Asian to white people. Okay, so nose a little bit rounder, maybe even the lips are a little bit more emphasized, but not as emphasized as a black person. Okay, you can even make the jaws more emphasized, a bit wider jaws, and then maybe give it thicker eyebrows. Okay, ears, nothing special about ears that I can recall from my own personal observations. And then haircut, let's say, since Hispanics have black hair, let's just give them same black hair. It could be any style. Just if you're depicting a Hispanic that is also part black, then you might want to use this curly hair shorthand. But for the most part, Hispanics have hair that's similar to Asians. Okay? So tell me if that looks correct to a Hispanic or not. Okay? So white people, blacks, Asian, Hispanics. And yeah, I think that's it. Now, those are your main 4 ethnic groups to choose from. I might not have covered them all, but if you think that there are other distinctive ethnic groups that I should probably cover, let me know in the comments, and I might do a follow-up video in the future. All right, let me know what you think. Okay, if it is offensive, or if it's accurate, or if it's not accurate, or what needs to be changed, or whatever, or if you can contribute your own style to the cartooning. What do you call it? Cartooning industry. Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you in your cartooning endeavors.